Hey everybody. I know some of you are probably freaking out because you're just seeing me post all these things and you can't hear me and you don't know how I feel about it, but you just see these pictures. So I just wanted to also go on Facebook here in person and talk about it briefly. Just say hi and say, I'm fine about this, but I can't handle this by myself. Dealing with, I can handle it, but I don't want to deal with this. So I need to have positivity and happiness. And um, uh, when my dad asked me this morning, when am I coming back? When 2 days ago he's acting excited. I feel like I'm being screwed around with because why would he be asking me when I'm coming back? And then he's like, well, are you coming back? And he says stuff like this, and it's just me versus him, and there's no one else in the conversation. And it really just is very odd of him to ask me, am I coming back? I own property there, and I don't know if I'm supposed to, be sarcastically funny with him because he's joking, or what he's doing. Why does he do that? And is he trying to get me upset? Does he want me to act monotone? Because when he goes, are you coming back? Like acting like I'm not going to be coming back. It's ridiculous. I've been gone for less than 2 weeks. I talk about what I'm doing every single day when I'm gone. And for him to say, are you coming back? It's like, what's his problem, man? By the end of the conversation, we'd ironed it out, but I'm left with this echoing in my mind of him saying, are you coming back? And why did he do that? Because I really feel like it was designed to piss me off. And I don't know why he's doing that. I don't know why. He's trying to create my feelings. He's putting me on the spot. We all know perfectly well I'm coming back, so why is he asking it? Am I supposed to be like, oh, funny, Dad, that's a good one? Because he sounded so serious when he said it. And if I had done something like, oh, that's a good one, Dad, you're really funny, I don't think he would have laughed back. So again, it brings me back to that song by Taylor Swift. My dad makes me, he forces me to have to think about him. Because for some reason, must feel like he's lost me on Facebook. So then he calls me and he has to ask me these series of questions like this in a serious way to reel me back into his web, I guess. And of course I was coming back, but this is why I get frustrated, because if this is the way it's always going to be, then then I'm trying to imagine what the situation is going to be like where he feels comfortable. Because I don't know when he's ever going to feel comfortable if I go out on my own and try to do something, and then as soon as he's feeling like he's somehow left behind, that he always has to do that to me. Because then it feels like, like no matter what it is I do, whenever he decides to feel like he needs to reel me back in, he's going to do that, and then I can't have a life or a family if he's always doing that and put my family through that kind of stuff. So I just don't understand it. And I was having a perfectly fine morning, and when he does that, it's like, my dad never goes camping. He only goes on trips with his mother on cruises or his girlfriend. Doesn't do anything with anybody. He doesn't. So I'm doing this. I'm having this adventure, this excursion, and it's supposed to be a fun thing. And it's something that I'm doing for greater reasons. And it's worrisome, and it almost scares me to feel like he could decide to emotionally end it because he doesn't feel a certain way. And it's something that I really don't like. And granted, by the end of the conversation, everything's fine, but this is the roller coaster. This is the up and the down I have to go through. And it's like I have to get this shock from him to come back to reality, to some kind of reality, when I was doing just fine without it. So, I think he follows me on Facebook, and he doesn't he sees these things happening, and he doesn't, I don't know how he doesn't connect with it or whatever, and maybe he sees too much, or maybe I do something that completely, like, he doesn't understand, so he feels like somehow I'm disconnected, and then I don't know, I can't explain it. All I'm doing is working, meeting people, learning about things. These are things that show, I mean, for him to think I'm just going to go back to Sutton's Bay and start making tiles, he's out of his mind. He's out of his mind. He doesn't understand how I'm feeling about my situation with my future of everything. He doesn't understand any of it. And he's not trying to understand any of it. He's not asking me or anything. And I don't know, and then I get this, it's just funny. And then I get this letter from this Robin Patterson. And it's like, I hardly know this woman, and it's like, she's nice sometimes. She's this very Christian woman, and she writes me this that I know. And her niece, Tamara Patterson Tamara Rhodes, was a Traverse City grad, and she went running off to California to be a movie star. And she became really good friends with my good buddy Brody. I think they met. I think Brody got a DUI when they met on the beach in the Sleeping Bear Dunes. So Brody was this guy that always attracted all these women, and then I ended up being like this. I don't know what I was to Brody, but he would always. He had this weird way of like telling me who he thinks I'm good with before I even almost have a chance to meet these people. Almost like a way of, but then he's the one that ends up wanting to be with them. It was just really weird, and so it always put this wedge in between any woman that he ever met and me, because if I ever were to try to and I was like afraid of him basically back in high school, because he would do that. So I couldn't ever try to pursue any of these women that he met, because he put this wedge in between us. So there was this girl that he met from Traverse City named Tamara Rhodes, and eventually, I was friends with her a little bit, and then from Brody, but she was always just all over Brody, and then I stopped. I basically just I liked her pictures on this is like way back in the first year of Facebook, and I remember I was writing on Facebook. All I would write was morale mushrooms, morals, and I stopped liking her pictures or something. So she must have thought I was ignoring her or something, and then she made some comment like, "What about morals?" So I was like, "Oh, want to go look for morals?" I was being kind of sarcastic, because she'd never wanted anything to do with me before. So she said, "Sure." And I was really surprised. So I took it seriously, and like I thought that she was attractive, I thought, and I liked her, thought it was a possibility. I didn't know what her plans were. So in the future, she was moving out to California. So we went morale hunting, and it was all right. But she has attitude. She says it's bad attitude kind of a thing, but I still tried. She went out, I sent her, I had ice cream sent out to her, because we talked about ice cream, and her grandpa's favorite ice cream was a butter pecan. So I had Moomers send her ice cream from Sutton's Bay to California. And then I continued to like your pictures, and then she eventually just said something on my page that was kind of snotty, and when I was liking her pictures, and I just didn't want anything to do with it, because she just isn't a very friendly person to me, and she's out in California. So Robin, I don't know, I have no clue what Tamara's doing now. She never liked my pictures. She was Brody's thing, and she always will be Brody's thing, and she never was gonna be friends with me, because Brody put this wedge in between us. That's what Brody would do. Brody would get this, what is it called? His sanctum, his groupings of women. He always had these women friends that he always would I never was the guy that would walk into the room and hug 5 women. He would walk into the room and hug like 5 different women, womanizer. But he doesn't date any of them. He just is like friends. So Brody always puts this wedge in between all the women that I was always with, that he would meet. So, there was nothing I could do with any of the women that were his friends, because they must have all wanted him. but no one. No, so this is why this is why Brody and I stopped being friends, because it was just it wasn't possible for me to be a person around him, because it was always about him, and then we had this friendship that was developed from when we were kids. So anyways, so I'm doing fine. I have to let people know that this stuff is going on sometimes, and like I said, it's a vicious cycle, because then I stand up for myself, and I post this stuff, and then I have to worry about how it could come back to get me. Like then I have to worry about, am I being too loud? Am I getting am I being too vocal about this family issue? Robin Rhodes sends me this letter, brief little note, saying like, well, what if your parents, something about want you back with them or something? It wasn't necessary for her to say that. She doesn't even know what I'm doing. I own property there. Why did she feel like she needs to ask me that question? Why does she need to get in the middle of it? So I defriended her. I don't need that. I felt bent when she wrote me that letter. Why should I feel bent? I'm trying to just enjoy my life. So anyways, I just want you guys to see my demeanor, so everything's fine. So I'm just gonna try to snooze a little bit and then start my work, which was going to start 2 hours ago, after I'd slept. But now, when my dad calls and does that, this is the result. So, I think he knows now not to do this ever again, because I will do this again. I will do this again, and I will get more descriptive about things that he's done and said in the past. I have no problem doing that, because if he's just gonna, if this is his way of controlling me, then there's no point in me even doing anything, because he'll hang up the phone. And then he'll say, well, you hang up the phone too. I don't hang up the phone on him. I never hang up the phone on him. It's just so stupid. He has the drama of his two sisters. That's what he has. He's the middle boy, and he has a younger sister and an older sister. And he knows how to act, because that's how he's grown up, living with those two sisters. So I have to deal with that, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. His two sisters, one of his sisters has 8 children, Filipino children. The father had to move back to the Philippines, and the other sister is very well off and has a doctor's son and a business and another son who's doing great. They're doing great, married, and have a couple kids down in Kentucky. So then there's me. And it's at moments like this where you kind of wonder why people even have children, because why do they even have me? If this is all about them calling me, I mean, why is that? Is it because I need to take care of them someday? Is that why? So what? So I need to just have a family with whoever's left up in Sutton's Bay, because the whole idea, and then Maggie gets to run out to Hawaii and have a family and enjoy her life while I stay home and just get what's left when I've worked so hard, and I'm just supposed to accept that? It's not going to happen.